A maniac on the loose.
Welcome to the Maniac on the Loose Scary Stories podcast. Sit back and relax. Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times and enjoy the ride. Snowstorm Horror Stories. Impact. I'm a female. I live in northern Wisconsin. I was on my way home from work and got caught in the middle of an extreme snowstorm. These were the biggest, fattest flakes I'd ever seen, and I lived in this area all my life, so that's saying something. The last 10 miles of my drive home take me down a dark, desolate road. The snow was piling up quick and my car wasn't the best in these conditions, so I was getting a little anxious. But still, I knew that if I drove slow and didn't make any sudden stops, I'd make it home just fine. Then, without warning, my windshield wipers froze up. They just stopped in mid-wipe. Within seconds, the onslaught of snowflakes covered my windshield, making it impossible for me to see. Before I could even move my foot to the brake pedal, I was jolted by the heavy impact of my car colliding with something. I jammed on my brakes, which sent my car into a wild spin before it finally came to a rest on the shoulder of the road. I was fine, just a bit shaken up from the shock of it all, but was concerned about what I had just hit. Whatever it was, it had to be huge. I opened my door and was met by a frigid blast of wintry air. The wind whistled and howled as I squinted through the massive flakes of snow, trying to determine what it was I had crashed into. I was expecting to see another car or maybe a deer, but there was nothing there. I was about to get back into my car when I noticed that the snow in the middle of the road was slightly discolored. I slowly approached the area. It took me a little while to figure out exactly what it was, but I came to a realization when I recognized that I was looking at a puddle of liquid. Red liquid. Blood. The heavy flakes were covering it quickly, but there was no doubt about it. That was blood. I looked closer and could make out that it trailed off of the side of the road and disappeared into the cloak of snow in the distance. It had to be a deer. It was injured and bloody, but well enough to get up and scurry away. That made total sense. Until I saw the footprints. They were gigantic, abnormally large. And let me make this clear. These were not shoe prints. They were footprints, and whoever left these prints wasn't wearing any shoes or socks, which in these conditions is nothing short of lunacy. And even though the footprints were very human-like, I never got the sense that they were in fact human. They were just too huge. I assumed that whatever it was that left these prints was gone until I heard it. Not far from the road, I heard an intense, high-pitched, screeching roar. I never heard anything like it. The closest I could compare it to is the angered wail of a chimpanzee. I stood frozen in terror when I saw it. Through the misty veil of the snowstorm, I could see it moving. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but I can tell you that it was standing upright and was walking away on 2 legs. I watched until it disappeared into the snowstorm. Snowstorm Horror Stories Breakdown. I'm a 23-year-old waitress at a 24-hour diner. I was driving through a snowstorm on my way to work. It was mid-afternoon, so there weren't many other people on the road. The snow was thick and wet. It blanketed the entire road rapidly, and the temperature was well below freezing, so the top layer of the snow on the road was icing over, which made for extremely slick conditions. Normally I would have been much more cautious, but I was running late and I guess I was going too fast for these conditions because all of a sudden I started spinning out. Thankfully, no other vehicles were nearby because I spun over the center line and came to a rest on the shoulder of the other side of the road, facing the wrong direction. After I caught my breath and got my bearings, I tried to pull back out onto the road, but I wasn't moving and could hear my tires spinning. I was stuck in a ditch. Fortunately, my cell phone had service, so I called a tow truck company to come and rescue me. I figured they'd be super backed up with the roads the way they were, but I got lucky, and they said they would be there within half an hour. I sat there for about 20 minutes before I even saw another car, and the one car I did see pulled over on the side of the road in front of me. It sat there for a couple of minutes. I could see the driver of the car was staring at me through his rearview mirror. After a couple more minutes, a lanky man with frizzy hair got out of the vehicle. He was wearing stained blue jeans and a filthy white thermal shirt. He kept warming his hands with his breath as he trotted over to the driver's side of my car door and knocked on the window. He appeared to be in his early 50s. His skin was rough and leathery, and he was unshaven. There was something mean about his eyes, and his voice was raspy when he asked me if I needed help. I rolled my window down just enough for him to be able to hear me. I thanked him for pulling over to check on me, but informed him that I already called the tow truck company and that they should be here any minute. He didn't like that. He stared at me long and hard and then finally said,
"Ain't no tow truck here, but I am, so open the damn door."
I rolled up the window. This angered him. He slapped my window and said,
"Fine, bitch,"
before shuffling back to his car. He paced back and forth in front of his car for several minutes. I could see that he was talking to himself, but couldn't make out anything he was saying. He seemed to be growing more furious by the second. I was really scared. This weird guy was menacing and seemed crazy. I was so relieved when he got back into his car and started it. But as he tried to drive away, his back tires spun around in vain. He was stuck too. To my chagrin, he wasn't going anywhere. His car door flung open and then he slammed it shut. He started kicking the door of his car over and over as he yelled out every obscenity in the book. He was causing some serious damage to the door and then suddenly turned his head. His angry eyes locked onto me.
"This is your fault, bitch."
His fists were clenched, and he took a step toward me. Before he could get close, I was saved by the arrival of the tow truck driver who pulled up next to me. The tow truck driver got out of his truck. It sounded like he asked the weird man a question, but the man didn't respond. He just stood there. Finally, the tow truck driver approached my vehicle. I could hear him as he asked me if I was okay. As I rolled my window down to answer him, my eyes focused on something behind the tow truck driver. It was the weird man. He had quietly snuck up behind the tow truck driver. I couldn't even spurt out a word of warning before the weird man flashed a long blade, reached around, and slit the tow truck driver's throat. A heavy splash of blood spurted against my window. I screamed at the horrid act that was taking place in front of me. I looked up and saw the weird man staring at me with those callous eyes. I fully expected him to come after me next. Instead, he flipped me off before rushing into the tow truck and driving away. I don't know how long I sat there in a daze before the police showed up. Later at the police station, when I finally started getting my wits about me, the police informed me that the weird man had not yet been captured. They also told me that the car he was driving when he pulled up was stolen, and that in the trunk of that vehicle were the decapitated heads of 3 women. Had I accepted his offer of aid, my head would have been in that trunk too. My voice is already in your Audible library, waiting for the lights to go out. I'm the maniac on the loose, and I've unleashed over 500 terrifying stories in the last 5 years. All of them are packed into chilling audiobooks on Audible and are 100% free for all Audible subscribers. No ads, just pure dread. Already subscribed? Start binging my entire audio library now. Go to maniacontheloose.com/audiobooks. Not a member? Go to maniacontheloose.com/audible and start a free 30-day trial and get to listening.